Buckle up, because this could turn out to be one of the biggest political bombshells we've seen in years. Former President Barack Obama and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton may have just received the most unsettling news of their political careers. The Department of Justice has reportedly moved forward with a grand jury investigation, but here's where it gets interesting. Instead of playing out in Washington, D.C., as almost everyone assumed, sources are now pointing to Florida, and that changes everything. At first, it was widely believed the grand jury would be seated in D.C., a city that overwhelmingly votes Democrat. The thinking was simple. If a jury there heard the case, it would be much easier to dismiss or bury, but new reporting suggests the script has flipped. According to John Solomon, founder of Just the News and someone with deep Washington connections, his sources are saying the action is shifting to Florida. He claims a DOJ strike force has already been given the green light and that a grand jury is the next step. If true, that signals the Justice Department is treating this very seriously. And Solomon isn't alone. Former federal prosecutor Joe DiGenova also believes this case is headed to Florida, specifically Miami. He points to the recent confirmations of U.S. attorneys in both D.C. and Miami as another tell. If this is right, the Obama-Clinton matter could soon be in the hands of Miami's U.S. Attorney's Office. Why does that matter? Because if this played out in D.C., most people already know how it would go, likely nowhere. But Miami, that's an entirely different landscape. Remember, Donald Trump actually carried Miami-Dade in 2024. A Florida grand jury means the evidence would be reviewed by ordinary citizens, not Washington insiders. Here's a quick refresher. A grand jury is usually made up of between 16 and 23 regular citizens. They review evidence, ask questions, and decide whether there's enough reason for a case to move forward. It's not a political appointee making the call, it's the people. That's a smart move strategically, too. Instead of looking like Trump's Justice Department is trying to settle scores, the administration can point to everyday Americans saying, yes, we need to look at this. And how has the media responded? In a word, panic. Overnight, outlets that once mocked this as a conspiracy theory started warning about how dangerous or reckless it supposedly is. Watching shows like Morning Joe, you could see the meltdown, timelines thrown out, claims that Obama had nothing to do with anything, finger-pointing at Trump, and an attempt to rewrite history. But they didn't actually offer hard evidence. They just talked. Meanwhile, declassified documents from the past few weeks paint a very different picture. Early briefings at the time stated there was no evidence of wrongdoing. That stayed consistent for months. But after President Obama reportedly called a meeting in the Oval Office, the narrative flipped. That's not speculation. It's written down in black and white. On top of that, congressional leaders recently released a supplemental section of the investigation that had been kept under wraps for years. It suggested that a major political campaign may have influenced the storyline dominating headlines for a long time, yet the agencies involved never fully confirmed or denied it. For an inquiry that dragged on for years, cost millions, and saturated the news cycle, it's remarkable how one of the biggest claims was simply left untouched. And here's the kicker. It's not just this investigation anymore. Representative James Comer announced that the House Oversight Committee is issuing subpoenas for depositions. Hillary Clinton is set to testify on October 9th, Bill Clinton on October 14th, and several other major names are on deck. Add all of that to the Florida grand jury, and this fall could be explosive. Now, some of you may be skeptical, and I get it. For years, we've seen scandals exposed, evidence revealed, and then nothing really happens. But ask yourself this, does knowing that this grand jury is likely moving to Florida instead of D.C. change how you see things? Do you think it makes it more likely that something real might actually come out of this?